Good morning, good evening, YouTube. Salutations, wherever you're at. So, one of my absolute favorite events of BookTube is coming up. It's Holmes is Where the Heart Is, which is in February. And I just saw some announcement videos over the last day or so. And I thought I'd make a recommendation, so I hope the guys hosting don't mind that I did this. But it just made, so I actually read some Sherlock Holmes earlier this year. I read A Study in Scarlet, Hounds of Baskerville, and The Sign of the Four. I have some other reading projects going on, and I'm going to be part of Historathon. I'm going to take part of, partake in that. So I probably won't get to read a ton of Sherlock Holmes, but I will at least read some Sherlock Holmes short stories. But I thought I'd make a bit of a recommendation. After I saw the prompts for this year, I noticed the last line said, characters inspired by Sherlock Holmes. Although this could maybe qualify as pastiche as well. This is Arsene Lupin. Written by Maurice Leblanc. If you've never read Arsene Lupin, these are fantastic stories. I very rarely see anybody talk about Arsene Lupin on BookTube. And this kind of qualifies in a few different ways. This is the first volume, and it's quite thin, as you can see. But the very last story in this one, yeah, they got him on the back here, is Sherlock Holmes arrives too late. I don't want to give away the story of it too much, but someone takes a certain somebody's watch at the very end and mails it back to him. But anyway, and then the first few stories in these are great, man. When Arsene Lupin's in prison, there's another one where if you don't, let me backtrack real quick. Arsene Lupin is not a detective; he is a gentleman thief. And a master of disguise, and just an all-around pretty smart guy. The first story takes place on a boat. The first Arsene Lupin story does, and there's a message sent to the boat about a person they're looking for, and they describe him. But Arsene Lupin, who is on the boat but is disguised as somebody else, he actually fed the false information to him, despite the fact that he was on the boat. I'm sorry. And it's a really great story, but all these are really great. Arsene Lupin is one of my favorite, it's one of my favorite things I've ever read. I actually read a bunch of these earlier this year, because I was working on my French earlier this year, and I read a bunch of these in French. If anyone's interested, I could actually make a video. There's an author who has released like an updated version of the French on this. If you know anything about French, literary French, especially old literary French, is very different from modern spoken French. But anyway, he did a bit of an update to it. It's not abridged. He just goes and changes some things, kind of like, the first person plural, and some stuff like that, and just kind of updates it for the more modern, modern spoken French. So anyway, kind of like takes out the simple past tense and stuff, but which isn't really used in modern spoken French. But anyway. That's neither here nor there. If anyone's interested in that, though, I can make some recommendations on that. He did a bunch of books that he kind of did an update for. He doesn't usually complete them, but he does like the first, portion of it, and they're very good. So like he did like Les Mis and the Three Musketeers and stuff. Anyway, but that's a whole other thing. But definitely, and I hope the guys don't mind that I did this, but I really enjoy these stories. I first discovered Arsene Lupin probably back in 2015, which is when I first started learning French, because they make a lot of if you go to a lot of French learning materials, they'll take extracts from these and some stories, and you can read them, and a lot of French graded readers and just French learning materials. And so that's where I discovered Arsene Lupin. I enjoyed him so much, I went out and I read the rest of them. And just seeing this event, I went out and I ordered an entire collection of them because I love these so much. There's a whole volume called Arsene Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes. So a little bit of the history. So this first story that includes Sherlock Holmes, which is Sherlock Holmes Arrives Too Late, he does actually use Sherlock Holmes' name in that. But Sir Arthur Conan Doyle asked. There's a couple different debates on that. If it was he got legal stuff involved, or if he just asked him. From the son of Maurice Leblanc said that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle just asked him not to use the actual Sherlock Holmes names, and then he didn't. So then he created a volume called Arsene Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes. So there's a whole volume of stories dedicated to Arsene Lupin and a Sherlock Holmes crossover, which that could qualify as pastiche. But there are actual, I've never read any of them, but there are actual further pastiche novels not written by Maurice Leblanc or Sir Arthur Conan Doyle that have come out over the years that have both these characters like teaming up and working together. But anyway, if you've read a lot of Sherlock Holmes, but maybe have never read Arsene Lupin, maybe you could read this for Holmes is Where the Heart Is. And I think this is it's pretty close. This character is pretty clearly inspired by Sherlock Holmes. He post-dates Sherlock Holmes by quite a few years. I believe the first Arsene Lupin story was published in 1905. And again, this is like some of the stuff I really love about BookTube. It's just great reading events like this. For someone like me, I don't know a lot of people who read in my daily life, so events like this gave me an opportunity to read stuff and be involved and talk with people about books and about the books I love. It's also a little bit bittersweet because it just stacks on stuff that you want to read, right? So luckily I've read some Sherlock Holmes already this year, but again, there's a lot of very short Sherlock Holmes stories you could read, and that's probably what I'll do. I'll just read a few of the short ones. But anyway, this is a great event. It's like this event, March of the Mammoths, Sumerian September, and Nonfiction November. Those are like my favorite events. I kind of have an idea for an event myself I might do this year, but we'll see. But anyway, definitely check out Holmes is Where the Heart Is. I will tag some of the hosts in the video. I hope they don't mind, but please check out Arsene Lupin if you've never read this. And again, this is why I wanted to be on BookTube, so I could kind of talk about some of these books that I love and recommend them to you guys. So this is just a recommendation. Like I said, it does qualify for the final prompt and a little bit of the third prompt. I'll put the prompts in the description of the video. I think the first one is just any Sherlock Holmes story. The second one's a nonfiction related. The second week is like a nonfiction related to Sherlock Holmes. The third week is pastiche related to Sherlock Holmes. And the fourth week is characters inspired by Sherlock Holmes. And this definitely qualifies for that fourth prompt. So check out Arsene Lupin if you've never seen it. If you've never read it. And again, these stories can be very funny, man. So definitely check them out, especially the stuff with sorry, I couldn't even say his name. It's so funny. Herlock Sholmes. I'm sorry. But definitely, these are a lot of fun, man. He's always tricking people. Like, it's hilarious. It really is. Anyway, definitely check these. I'm going to ruin this video laughing so much. I just think something funny happens in the book. But definitely check these out, man. Arsene Lupin's great. So, thank you, YouTube. Good night or good day, wherever you're at.